This is a special presentation of EA Sports from the Coliseum in Oakland, our tribute to the coach, the John Madden Legacy Game. I'm Brandon Gaudin here to take you through the proceedings, and coming up, we're going to tell the story of a man who was truly larger than life and whose impact on the sport of football certainly is going to live on for decades and decades to come. Now, we've assembled a couple of rosters featuring some of Coach's favorite players from both yesterday and today, and Coach himself will be on the sidelines for both squads, trying to motivate his guys to victory. And I'm joined now by my good friend Charles Davis. CD, your thoughts on John Madden and what he meant to the sport he loves so much?
For me, Brandon, it's the word joy. He brought that to the game of football and brought the game to so many people. He stayed involved his entire life. And moving forward, when you think of football, you're always going to think John Madden.
One time for old times. What do you say we play some football as we are underway from Oakland in the John Madden Legacy Game? And we will not see a run back on the opening kickoff. This will be a touchback. So it's the NFC stars who will get the ball first. And Charles, as we alluded to, we've got a different era of coach on each sideline. So the man coaching this NFC squad, and we'll call him Young John Madden, this is a coach who was trying to establish a foothold in the NFL and on the cusp of doing it very successfully.
Yeah, you think back to that period, those early days as the coach of the Raiders, the late 60s in the AFL and then in the NFL in the early 70s. Coach was a guy who was ahead of his time. The Raiders were one of the first teams to have mini camps, one of the first to film practice, because he wanted to practice coaching as much as he could. And his teams, they were successful right from the start of his head coaching tenure.
They start on the ground here at Sanders. And he's got Rome. And he'll take this into the end zone. Now, hold on here. We do have a flag down. So let's see what this is about. Brutal. So take away the long touchdown.
It's a cruel game sometimes, partner.
So the special teams penalty cost some yardage there as they come out on 1st and 10. They'll run with Sanders up the middle, and he'll be taken down at the 34. So as we mentioned at the top, well, let's take you through the life of John Madden. And, you know, it's very fitting that we're here back in the Bay Area, not just because John's so associated with Raider football, but also because this was where he spent his formative years.
Yeah, he grew up over Daly City with his buddy John Robinson, who would also become an NFL head coach. And he played his high school ball at Jefferson High, eventually wound up playing tackle at the University of Oregon and later Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. Played well enough that in 1958, he was a 21st round draft pick of the Philadelphia Eagles. That's right, the draft had 30 rounds then.
An early tough test on the opening drive. This is 3rd and 8. Throwing is far. And able to haul it in is Kittle. And they're going to get this down to about the 17-yard line here. But Charles, you mentioned Coach was a 21st round draft pick back in 1958. It was the Philadelphia Eagles who selected him. But unfortunately for John, knee problems, they just continued to dog him. He was hurt in his first training camp, actually never saw the field as a player in the NFL. But it was still during his time with the Eagles, you and I were talking about this before going on air, that you could start to see the light bulb going on for what his career path might entail.
And it went on in a big way, didn't it? Because while he was rehabbing his knee, he started to spend a lot of time breaking down film with the Eagles, with quarterback Norm Van Brocklin, the future Hall of Famer and future head coach in the NFL. Remember, Norm Van Brocklin coached with the Falcons, he coached with the Vikings. And was there during that time. I think Coach Madden realized his love of football and love for teaching, combining all that together, and that meant being a football coach. So in 1960, began his coaching career at a small college south of City.
And that's going to be caught. Touchdown NFC. Jason Witten. A 12-yard touchdown grab. And the NFC has taken the early lead. Morton Anderson now for the extra point. His kick is good, and the NFC goes up 7-0. So the drive there took 6 plays. And it's finished off by an NFC touchdown. Following the touchdown, here's Anderson to kick it away. This one fielded at the 5. And a good return as he'll be stopped just shy of the 30-yard line. So, Charles, as mentioned, we've got another Coach Madden over here on the AFC sideline. Of course, his Raiders, members of the AFC West. So this is a conference he battled in for his entire career. And you think about the landscape of the NFL as he was getting into the back half of his tenure. It was a golden era for coaches. You had Don Shula, Tom Landry, Chuck Noll, Bud Grant. But it was John Madden who had the best winning percentage of them all, CD. 759, the best ever.
Brandon, it's hard to believe he could be so successful in the conference with all those great teams. The Steelers won 4 Super Bowls. The Dolphins won 2 and were a mainstay in the playoffs. The Colts were tough. The Broncos came out late and went to a Super Bowl themselves. But against Hall of Fame coaches, John Madden's record, 36-16-2. That's pretty incredible. His Raiders were a factor each and every year.
And he'll slip his way up across the 30 to the 32. Well, Charles, you know, it was in the early 1960s that a young John Madden made the acquaintance of the owner of the Oakland Raiders, one Al Davis, of course. And the two, they really bonded, would become one of the best owner-coach duos in NFL history. And to take it a step further, Al Davis became someone who John referred to as his best friend.
Yeah, 1967, Brandon. Al Davis hired Coach Madden to be a linebackers coach. Remember, this was still the AFL at that point. We had not merged totally with the NFL. And Coach Madden, he paid dividends almost immediately. Helped the Raiders win the AFL title in 1968. And that meant a date with the Green Bay Packers in what was now known as Super Bowl II. But by 1969, at the age of 32, just 32, Brandon, John Madden assumed the mantle of head coach of the Oakland Raiders. And what a ride he, the Raiders, and the NFL were about to go on.
1 quarter in the books at the Coliseum. What a day. The NFC Stars with the early lead in the John Madden Legacy game on EA Sports. Here's Allen. And the result here, a pickup of 8. Leaves him with 2 to go on 2nd down. Charles, you talked about John Madden and the Raiders going on a ride. Well, try these numbers on for size. In 10 seasons as a head coach, the Raiders won their division 7 times. They finished 2nd the other 3 times. And he became the youngest coach to amass 100 career regular season victories and is still, to this day, the franchise leader in wins.
And when you think about it, that's where that rivalry with Kansas City really took root. As did the expression, commitment to excellence. And boy, was it personified by the players who played for Coach Madden. On offense, how about quarterback Kenny Stabler, wide receiver Cliff Branch, wide receiver Fred Biletnikoff, tight end Dave Casper, to name a few. How about those great linemen he had? Center Jim Otto, guard Gene Upshaw, tackle Art Shell, all of them in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And guys on the defensive side of the ball, the Mad Stork himself, Ted Hendricks, Willie Brown, John Matuzak, Otis Sistrom, and Big Ben Davidson. So many great players, so many great memories.
Now they'll throw with Brady. That's going to be caught downfield by Reed. And they're able to work this to the 25 before it's all said and done. Charles, you think about all the success that John Madden had as an NFL head coach, and he had plenty, and we talked about it, including the 10 straight winning seasons, a Super Bowl title. But like any great coach, he also suffered through a few tough losses along the way as well.
And Brandon, those tough losses came in high-stakes games because they always had such great success. Think about it this way. 6 times in his 10 years, the Raiders were knocked out near the AFL championship game or the AFC championship game. But might be a divisional round exit. That's the one that bothered him most of all. Three River Stadium, December 1972. Yes, the Immaculate Reception game. Franco Harris grabbing the ball that was deflected, almost at his shoe tops, he picked it up and took it in for a game-winning score to give the Steelers a 13-7 victory. And partner, anyone who loves black and silver, still doesn't believe that ball hit anyone in black and silver that day, and that play should never have counted.
On 2nd and 12, Brady. He finds his man, complete. That's Gonzalez. The CD, we spoke of some of the Raiders' tough playoff losses through the decade of the 70s, but for one shining season, they put it all together, and that was 1976. You remember a 13-1 regular season, a memorable playoff win over New England. They dominated the Steelers 24-7 in the AFC title game, and then a meeting with the Minnesota Vikings in Super Bowl 11.
Oh, Brandon, what a game that was down at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. A gorgeous 53-degree day, perfect for football. Raiders got out to a 16-0 lead at the half, and Clarence Davis, no relation, although I would certainly claim him, strong on the ground, 137 yards rushing. How about Freddie Biletnikoff, the MVP of that game, catching everything that came his way? Kenny Stabler running the offense with precision, and we all remember the one that sealed it. The grand old man himself, Willie Brown, with the laser-focused eyes, picking off Fran Tarkenton and taking it 75 yards for a touchdown. 32-14 the final score. Raiders had their first Super Bowl title, and we got the iconic shot of Coach Madden being lifted on the shoulder pads of his players and carried aloft as a Super Bowl champ.
Chances are good he's going to be a very busy guy. 2 catches already in this opening drive, and they were looking his way for a third.
I think they put this defense on notice that could be a really, really frequent combination. Now a toss play. Allen. And he'll be tackled right on the 10, well short of the first down. Now a timeout called for by the defense as the clock shows 50 seconds to play here in half number 1. They'll run for it. This is Allen. And he's able to pick up the first before he's brought down inside the 5 at the 4. Now the offense going to use the first of their timeouts as they'll stop it with just over 40 seconds to go in the first half. A chance now to get even before the break as they come up 1st and goal. They stay on the ground with Allen. It's a loss of 2 there, bringing up 2nd down.
I have a feeling they'll stay committed to running the football, especially on their early downs. They just haven't had a whole lot of success just yet.
Second and goal from the 6 this time. To throw, it's Brady. Able to shake him off. Feeling the pressure here and taken down. A sack back at the 7. Now a timeout signaled for, and they'll get it with 10 seconds to go before halftime. And now can they reverse the trend on 3rd and goal with the last 2 plays having gone backwards? Brady going to throw. Short pass tip, but caught anyway. And they'll burn the timeout with 5 seconds left. A chance to try to add 3 points before heading to the locker room. So they won't get a touchdown, but here's a chance to at least get 3 to end the first half. From the right hash here, should be an easy one. And this one is no good. He missed it. And this will stay at a 7-point game. So 1st and goal quickly turns into 4th and goal, and then 4th and goal turns into no points whatsoever.
That's a very disappointing sequence of events right there. And I, for one, would not want to be the kicker who has to run over to his head coach and explain that one.
So time perhaps for one final kneel down before they take this lead to the locker room. The final second ticks by, and that's going to do it for... Well, coming up in the second half, we'll run through John's post-coaching triumphs. But for now, we present a very special tribute to the man of the hour, narrated by Trey Mosley. The AFC going to get the football first here as we are back underway from Oakland in the John Madden Legacy game. Taking it about the 1. And he'll take it a yard or so past the 20, called it the 21. The AFC making their way out, and it's one of Coach's favorites, another local guy, Tom Brady, who will be at the controls. And boy, Coach always admired the way number 12 could run an offense, and especially his ability to stay calm under pressure.
Tom Brady is a guy who's always looking downfield. He never looks at the rush. He hangs in the pocket, and he makes a throw. He's a cool guy, and he's a tough guy. Let me tell you, there's no one calmer in the pocket than Tom Brady.
And I know that Coach has a great appreciation for Tom Brady, who turned 45 back on August 3rd, because Coach coached a guy like him in George Blanda, who played a long time in the NFL. In this game, it features legends and active players. Tom Brady qualifies as both.
So now, Charles, to pick up the story we've been telling, John Madden at 42. He just completed a 10-year stint as the coach of the Raiders. He wants to step away a bit from the grind of coaching, but he doesn't want to step away from the game of football. So he ends up signing on with CBS in 1979 to try his hand at broadcasting. And much like his coaching career, he was pretty much an instant success.
Partner, he really connected with the people right from the start, and people may not remember, he wasn't even on the #1 team in the beginning. He worked his way up. But the same things that made him a great coach made him a great broadcaster. The ability to show the big picture, yet break it down into the details. That's what he did with his teams. That's what he did with the people. That way, he was simple to understand, yet insightful for viewers. And he did with that big personality that he had, one that connected with everyone.
On play action, it's Brady. Blitz coming, and down he goes. Give the sack to Lawrence Taylor. So for Coach Madden, Charles, by 1981, his broadcasting career is really taking off. He's elevated to the network's #1 booth that calls all the big matchups. And he gets the plum assignment of calling Super Bowl 16, 49ers and Bengals, and he's teamed up with Pat Summerall. And that pairing ultimately would go on to be one of the most influential in sports broadcasting history.
Influential not just in us listening to them. Remember, they went on to call 8 Super Bowls together. But how they put together kind of the template that all of us broadcasters follow now. Sitting down with the head coaches and the quarterbacks and the stars of each team before a ball game to get extra information. And the way that those two paired together, Pat Summerall, short, concise, to the point, and turned it over to Coach Madden to fill in all the big details.
As you mentioned, CD, talking about John Madden, the broadcaster, he called 8 Super Bowls with Pat Summerall, 3 more with Al Michaels later in his career. He spent nearly 3 decades in the booth all told. And not only was he beloved for his mannerisms, we know that, but he was an innovator as well.
Yeah, Brandon, you talk about things like the telestrator, which totally became identified with him, and now it's a staple for all analysts to have in the booth. And then you think about things like turducken on Thanksgiving, when he used words like boom and pow. He helped create the All-Madden team. He was a very popular commercial pitch man. And even the Madden Cruiser was unique, and you had to be someone to get a ride on it, too.
And he's brought down just outside of the 10 at the 11. 5 yards on the carry. Good pickup on first down.
They've created a nice sustained drive off of plays like that. A nice strong run there that keeps them advancing the ball.
Second and 5 now. Brady. And that is caught for an AFC touchdown. Tony Gonzalez, an 11-yard touchdown. And the AFC is an extra point away from tying this game up. Well, it took them a little while, but they are on the board here in this this third quarter, and now with a chance to tie this up.
And it gives them a chance to exhale just a little bit, right? Because most of the time, if your first points come in the second half, you're often hopelessly out of the game, but not in this case. Now they have something to build on and a chance to mount a comeback.
Missed it. No good. And they'll remain down by a point. So through 3 quarters of the John Madden Legacy game, it's the NFC Stars and young Coach Madden on top. And we'll be back to the Coliseum after this. Vinatieri out there to kick this one away. A fairly short kick from the 14. And they're going to start this drive in pretty good shape up past the 30. The offense for the NFC ready to get their next drive started. They've been asleep for a little while on this side of the football, Charles, and the score is just a one-score game now. Haven't had any points this half. What gives?
Let's go old school here. All right, let's get back to the basics. Get back to running the football, high percentage throws. Find the guys that eat pressure and make plays for you and make sure they touch it.
Clock continuing to run. They'll probably wind this all the way before snapping it on second down. Up the middle they go with Sanders. Room here to run. And he's free going down the left side. It's a foot race. Touchdown. A great effort there. 72 yards as his guys are able to extend their lead. Charles, they had 6 DBs out there. They were thinking pass. They surprised him with a long run.
I wonder if they saw that and just checked to it. Maybe had an audible and said, you know something, against 6 defensive backs, let's run the football. Let's get our big guys downfield and match up with the littler guys and see if we can create some space. And not only did they create space, they created a path all the way to the end zone.
Following the touchdown, here's Anderson to kick it away. Dante Hall going to bring it out of the end zone. And he's only going to make it to the 13-yard line and no further. Now the AFC going to use the first of their timeouts. That'll leave them with 2 remaining. We'll be back after this. Few better down a score in the 4th quarter than Tom Brady. This is 1st and 10. They'll come out throwing here to start the drive. And that is incomplete. Took a shot there on 1st down, but he couldn't reel it in. Brady's incompletion on 1st down leads to a 2nd and 10. Looking to throw. And this one nearly intercepted. Boy, that would have been a great time for their first pick. But instead, it's 3rd down. And this offense on 3rd down today, just 1 for 3 thus far. This is 3rd and 10. Now Brady. And he almost gets this to the 30, taken down about a yard shy. 2nd catch for him today, and it'll wind up a 1st down. Now, CD, we did get a little ahead of ourselves talking about John Madden, the broadcaster in the 90s and 2000s, because there was another product during that time period that he became quite famous for, and it's something that you and I know a little bit about, and that's the video game that bears his name. Originally John Madden Football when it was first released back in the late 1980s, and now known the world over simply as Madden.
And Coach saw this originally as a way to teach the game of football. The early designs were for a 7-on-7 game, but he said no chance. He would not sign off on it. He wanted to be as realistic as possible. He told him, call me when it's 11-on-11, and he got his wish.
Yeah, after that debut, Madden the video game continued to pick up steam through the 90s in a big way. And John himself, many will remember, was a commentator for the series for many years. And now here we are in the 2020s, and this game has sold somewhere in the neighborhood of 150 million copies. So, CD, you look at the accumulation of John Madden's achievements in the world of football, the coaching success, the Super Bowl title, the incredible career as a broadcaster with 12 Emmy Awards, Madden the video game. It was very fitting back in 2006 that John Madden got the call to be enshrined into the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
A more deserving person you will not find. He gave an incredible speech on that day, Brandon. So many of his former Raider players were in attendance. He talked about how he envisioned that when the last person turns off the lights in the hall every night, that the bus talk football amongst themselves. And what a discussion that might be.
Yeah, he finished his speech by saying, "Today feels like the second time in my life that I'm being carried off on the shoulders of others. Yet instead of off the field, it's into the Hall of Fame. This has been the sweetest ride of them all."
A couple of first downs have him to the 40 now on 1st and 10. Now Brady.
And oh, that one nearly intercepted. That would have sealed it. Instead, it'll be second down. You think about John Madden in his retirement years post-broadcasting. He was about as active as most people are in their working years. I mean, he continued to play a key role on the NFL's competition committee. He was available to a wide range of people as a tutor, as a mentor. He continued to teach the game of football to all who would listen. And Charles, as you and I know, he even continued to provide input, a lot of input on the Madden video game.
Yeah, I know a lot of folks that design and build this game certainly look forward to their yearly visits out to the Madden compound that he had out in the East Bay. They pitch the new aspects of each year's game to him, get his feedback, and then get to sit back and spend 6 hours with him on a Sunday.
Launches deep. A jump ball, and this is caught.
So a costly penalty yardage-wise as that'll move the football down to the spot of the foul.
And what the officials are looking for in these situations, whether you're playing the man or the ball. And if you're playing the man, you get a lot less leeway in terms of what's going to happen at the end of the play. But if you're looking for the football, it's less likely to draw the flag.
Brady to throw.
That ball is caught. It's Andre Reed. And finally down he goes as they work it inside the 10 to the 7. 23 yards the final tally.
And this is obviously a spot where you lean on your stars. Get the ball to them in open space and let them do what they do.
First and goal, a touchdown and a two-point conversion here are musts. Now a carry for Allen. And a minuscule gain of maybe a yard from the 6 to the 5.
The yards may start getting a little tougher to come by down here near the goal line. That's good work defensively there on first down, holding them to a short gain.
They keep it on the ground. Allen again. And he stopped immediately there. It'll go as no gain on the play, and now they're looking at a 3rd and goal. A lot of tired bodies on that field, but this is a big play, 3rd and goal.
Back to throw, Brady.
And this will be caught. Touchdown. So in the final minute here now, a 2-point conversion will tie the game.
The touchdown's massive, but now they've got to have 2 to possibly take this to overtime.
The late touchdown was only half the battle. Now they need the 2-point conversion to tie the ball game. They'll try and run it in. And he is not going to reach the goal line. They were forced to go for it down 2, but the defense rises to the occasion, and they hold on to their lead. here's Vinatieri now to kick it away after the touchdown.
Hester to return from his end zone. And he'll be stopped right around where he would have been had he gone down to a knee, maybe a yard shy of there at the 24.
Down to a knee here. The defense still with a couple of timeouts. We'll see if they want to use them. Now the AFC going to take a timeout. It's their second, as they'll stop it with 25 ticks remaining on the clock. Victory very much in sight now as they'll take a knee.
Well, this has certainly been special. And, Charles, as we wind down toward the end of this John Madden legacy game, your final thoughts?
Well, let's face it, partner, it's going to be hard to overestimate the impact that he made, not just on the sport of football, but on his family, friends, players, co-workers, and in the lives of millions of Americans who watched him. There will never be another John Madden.
I don't know about you, partner, but watching them take the knee there and finish this one off, I feel like I'm going to be sore tomorrow. This was one bruising affair. Low scoring, but my kind of football.
Not a work of art, but maybe in your world, a little bit of a work of art. You like the defensive side.
I thought it was pretty. I can't help myself. I thought it was pretty.
So it's a win here for the NFC. Just an incredible afternoon of football and remembering the life of John Madden. And before we go, one final message. And for all of us at EA Sports,
time to decide how you're going to make your Madden NFL 23 debut. You could put yourself back on the game's biggest